Oh, what's up, demons and demonettes? Tis I, Atraxi, Demon Queen, and we're back at it once again. And today, we're talking about Clashfronts. But before we get into it, as always, toss a like and subscribe down below. So we're gonna do our post-game analysis, as I like to do after every game. So one of the first things we like to do here is we like to scout out our competition. That's number one in the planning phase. So I went of course ahead and I took a look at Skyforge here. As you can see, they are 22 of 30. And then if we can kind of scroll down, we can see they have a lot of AFK accounts. So they are kind of like padding their numbers. They don't have, maybe they have 4 active accounts, I want to say. Anybody, you know, once you get to that 4-day mark, you're pretty much done, right? So we got maybe 4 active accounts. Now we look at our experience. As you can see, they are 27 of 30. And we also look at the power levels as well. So they're in like the 47. Their highest here is a 56. But again, they have a lot of inactive accounts as we get down here towards the bottom. So we can kind of see that. It seems like they are kind of padding their numbers. But again, not a very strong guild. We are looking at potentially Paragon 1 max. So then we look at the last guild here, which is Turkey. They have a 29 of 30. But again, we want to scroll down here. And we just kind of want to check their actives, inactives, right? So maybe they're running with a more like 24, 25 at this point. Now, their core players are around the same-ish level as our core players, maybe a little bit weaker, but they do have these 2 bigger accounts here. This one, with a Paragon 2, and this one looks just like Paragon. So that's something else to keep in mind here as we go into the round. So this guild, if they did attack in force, could potentially take a tile from us if we under deployed. So we certainly need to consider that when spreading ourselves thin. Alright, so let's go round by round and see how things go and talk about some other things along the way. Alright, so as you can see, like I said, we have to worry about them going on force. So we went big here, and we took 17 to take out like half of their guild. On the other side, this was the free tile. Seeing as I didn't think we needed to allot all of our teams to hold this tile, we're able to throw 10 teams here, and we pick up some extra points in the combat trial. And this guild that I mentioned that is semi-dead, only throughout the resquads. So as you can see, we got a free tile here, so we were able points up from the combat trial. So we got everything we wanted there, and then we can kind of see what happened here. You know, they got a free tile. These 2 guilds clashed over here. They went 25 over here, so they maybe have 70. And then they put 1 here, so they have about 74 squads total that they managed to deploy. We're actually down 1 member too, and I think we had to miss the first day. So I think right now we're rocking a 94 with a max of 97 later on, because with the content drought, we have been losing consistently 1 member a week. Again, it's very frustrating. So going into round 2, let's talk about some strategy and things we want to take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my battle plans over here that I drafted, right? So as you can see, it's a little hard to get a screenshot of that full map. So I went ahead and grabbed this off of Yaphala. So I just put a circle here for the tiles that we grabbed. White is the tiles that we are attacking. Blue is what blue grabbed. Yellow is what yellow grabbed. And red is what red grabbed. I use the arrows to indicate what we are attacking here. Right, so boom, boom, boom. Then we go for total squad counts and the VG squads. And I have the Vanguard players rank their squads from 1 to 5. And then that's kind of what I want, where I want it. I think this round goes pretty well with the deploy. We kind of get everybody where we want them, so it's not too bad. It's not very complicated yet. The big goal here is we need to retain this tile while grabbing this tile and this tile. I don't think retaining this tile here is very hard, right? So we don't allot a lot of squads to it, and we do want to grab this tile again, dead guild. Not much effort to grab this tile. So essentially for us, this is going to be 3 points. And again, we need as many points as possible to get to exalted. So let's go ahead, keeping that in mind. We're going to go ahead and we will take a look at round 2. So you can see that we do manage to grab everything that we go for. We do have a big clash here, 3 guilds meet. But we barely managed to grab it. And we did have 3 extra squads, so we did get to throw them in the melee. Now, as you can see, my squads don't really get to fight until the end, and then they mostly go into the melee. Now, this is my #1 Vanguard team, but it did struggle the last round. I meant to show that, so we'll go back and take a look at that. So this is my Vanguard team. Unbeatable, one-on-one, will crush any team. However, once it gets whittled down, if it goes up against another strong concealed team, even with the Paragon levels, it does manage to get knocked off. I was very disappointed in that, but it is what it is. So we go back to round 2. Again, we split up our big accounts. They didn't really make a play for this tile. So I guess it looks like they just avoided us for the most part, while maybe trying to go after this. Nope, they just went after the Vanguard. So they just kind of like took what they could take that was easy without going after this blue guild that much. Maybe just kind of playing for second place at this point, realizing, you know, they've got this big bad guild up here in the corner. Now, again, nothing wrong with playing for second. However, they should have gone for maybe more of a point a loss strategy against the blue guild and tried to go a little bit heavier in taking this, right, rather than worry about defending this, which nobody could hit. But again, they didn't have a lot of teams, so it's maybe they just didn't have it, or maybe they I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on to the next round. Nothing really exciting happened this round. Let's talk about round 3 as our battle plans begin to get a little bit more complex. So we'll just bring that over here. Right. So this is when I decided to add in the extra icons. Probably not the best idea. I end up removing these at a later point in time because now you can see that the map is getting very complex, very convoluted. This is where even I, who create the plan, begin to make mistakes in writing out, because what I'll do is I'll take the graphic and then I will do a written out, like, hey, boom boom, you go here, we go for squads, and then we have the numbers for the tiles so people can look at the map and see where they need to go. Again, it starts to get a little bit more complex. I wish we had better tools in game to do this kind of like in game, just to kind of like coordinate and get people where they need to be a little bit better. So again, the same strategy is we're gonna go a little bit lighter up top in defending it, because there's not gonna be as much value for this blue guild to grab it, because the treasure hamster spawns on 12. So they're gonna want the quickest way to the treasure hamster, or quickest access. And for them, it would be taking this tile, right? That's the one that makes the most sense, because that's going to then give you access to this. Well, they already have access, but it's going to give you access to this tile, and this tile, right? So they could take this tile, then take this tile, then grab this round 4. Alternatively, they could have gone this route, but this was probably the best route to go, because then again, they would have to defend. They gotta worry about here. Now, I decided to go after yellow because they were the 3rd guild, strength wise here, right? This is 2, where 1, 4 was just like absentee. So we kind of wanted to go in and grab some tiles from them, right? So we can grab this tile, these are free tiles. So we just put minimal effort into grabbing them. Then we want to go ahead and we're going to grab this guy and this guy. Now, this one does seem to be a bit more desirable for the yellow guild so that they can get to the treasure hamster here on 12. But again, essentially, it is a free tile for us, so we can easily grab it in the coming round. So round 3 goes a little bit like this. All right. So we managed to, again, grab everything that we go for. We did not hit the squad goals that I wanted here. I wanted 8. We got 6. On the side here, we wanted 2. We did get our 2. And here, we got our 2. I think here I wanted 11. We had someone miss the play. We end up with 12. Here, we had some miscommunications. So we ended up over deploying. We went 10. And here we went a little bit. We actually got what I wanted. So we got that. We had some people miss deploy here. As you can see, we have 2. We're only supposed to have 1. Here, you know, is 1. I wanted 2, but the trade-off is that we have 2 on one of those. That's fine. I'm not worried about it. We were a good here. They did make a strike. Now, the only other thing we could have potentially do, and what I was a little bit hesitant to do because I thought it might overextend us, but may have been the better play, was to attack this tile as well. I think it would have been easier to grab it with 11 there than it was in the subsequent rounds. And that would have given us even more points. So we could have probably cut this down to like 3 teams even. Because again, I should have, one of the things like I missed is the path. I thought maybe they might try to take both. They did attack both, but they didn't go big for both. They went bigger for this one. To try to, like I said, to try to get to the treasure hamster. So we could have maybe diverted a 5 to here with one of our P4 teams, and maybe we could have taken this, which would have really opened things up for the subsequent rounds. Limited what we would have had to defend and given us about maybe another 500 points overall, we're talking. Right, so that's that, like I said. So the next round, it's going to look like this. Again, it gets even more complex as we spread ourselves pretty thin. Now, I do go heavier to defend this. We lighten up on here because, again, this becomes less desirable now that they are essentially blocked off from getting this treasure hamster. The blue team, because now we're going into round 4. But we want, so the easiest route for them to get to the middle and those big points is to go through here, right? So they now, this point becomes even more desirable for this blue guild. So we have to make sure that we bulk up and grab this. So what we do is we do actually now make the play for this tile, essentially because this tile became a free tile, which freed us up in other areas. I did go lighter here, again, because now there's no value in yellow or really grabbing this. They really need to grab this one, because again, they probably want to get this treasure hamster to lock in their second place if they can. But again, at the same time, we're going to try to defend this. We're going to go after this to kick the yellow guild out of the middle, essentially giving this a free tile, this a free tile, this a free tile, which opens up again another, what's that? So that would be 1, 2, 3, so like 23. So opens up another 20 squads for us to reallocate for the next round. Now, this is where it really gets overcomplicated and we cause a lot of confusion and we don't get the deploys. Luckily for me, I usually check at maybe like a half an hour or so before the deployment ends and formations get locked. Why? Because I'm up at that time. Because that's when my I wake up from my body clock and then I get ready to start work. So, you know, when I'm doing my morning routine, whatever, I just hop in and I just check all this, which was a good thing because one of my Vanguard did miss. So I managed to reallocate at the last minute. I put my Vanguard team here. right? So we went for our 5th team. I figured maybe that would be good enough because, again, it is Paragon 4. It is a control team. Did we need it? I don't necessarily know that we needed it there, but it certainly did help, right? So we did manage to get that, and we did manage to get the extra 40 points out of the skirmish. Now, since it's my 5th team, we probably didn't lose a lot here. As you can see, they did go big, but even numbers to even numbers, we have the advantage. Again, we're going to win that. But what it's ultimately going to come down to is the bottom here, right? So we didn't even get to, our Vanguard team didn't even get to go. Our second team didn't even really get to do much as well. We go to the bottom here. They did make a play, and Red decided to pop back in as well. So we managed to pick up some extra points here during the skirmish, and this is where you can see having a very strong team for the melee comes in big, because this Reborn team, which is my personal favorite team, just wrecks teams in the melee. And just like anything that's like non-bursty enough and high enough in Paragon levels is going to struggle against this comp. Siren just kind of annihilates anybody, and you can see we get down to 8, and it's still going strong. The Siren's just annihilating people. So we can see here, even if they have put more squads, this team has not been defeated in the melee yet this season, right? It's just that devastating of a team in the melee. It's just been chewing up teams left and right. So we get an easy win there. We get grab that, right? We do make the play, but they go for more of that type passive strategy, right? So I call that the turtle strategy, which is fine. So you see they bulked up here to 30. They abandon this tile completely, and they try to make the play here, but they don't go big. Had they gone a little bit bigger, potentially, yes, they could have taken it, but I figured with the 37, 38, we could have ended off their entire guild, and then maybe played the play here. So by them kind of splitting, they manage to retain and hold this tile. We do get the extra points off the skirmish, though. So that was good. All right, so what this sets up for in the final round now is what we're going to look at over here in my graphic. So let's bring that over here. All right. So as you can see, we're just going to go heavy to defend. Because it doesn't make sense at this point for blue. Blue just has to hold what they have in order to get second, while we kind of like go after yellow. For yellow to get second, they no longer really need to go after us. They need to subtract points from blue and should go heavy after this, right? Again, we bulk up here in the off chance that, you know, blue does make a play for our top tile here. And I do want us to bulk up here on the side because they did make a comeback. They did make an appearance after taking a day or two off. They did participate. Maybe they wanted those deploy rewards. So they wanted to try to get those rewards or whatever. So I wanted us just to make sure we had ample teams just for coverage, just in case we had the teams to spare. Now, again, we can fend off almost their entire guild with 11 squads, so we go to 13 here. So we bulk up here, and I want to attack here and grab this tile. Again, we want to rack up as many points as possible in this mode, right? So this is where I have us cut down on the middle. On the free tiles, just go one here. We'll just forsake the extra 4 points. We'll get in the combat trials, and just bulk up our tiles that we're defending at this time, and then go on the attack once more. No global domination this game like we had in last game. That ended when we failed to grab this tile. Is it the end of the world that we didn't grab the tile? No. We're fine. You know, we just have to defend here. Again, with 38 squads, we can fend off their entire guild, so it's not going to be that big of an issue. All right, so let's go ahead. we'll take a look, and we'll see how things play out. All right, so as you can see, they do make a are we on? Yeah, so we did not get the goals that we wanted. People just did not move like they were supposed to. Luckily, again, we managed to hold onto it. I did not do any post analysis here, so I didn't even get to see my teams, which were the ultimate determinant. No, my teams don't even get one of my teams gets to go, right? So my main Vanguard team goes and wipes out one team, which means it removes it from the I believe it removes it from the combat trials. Yeah, because then it yeah, so we don't get to use it in the combat trials. So my other two teams didn't get to go, and we just had to use, unfortunately, the other team here. Not that it's a great combat trial team. So we did manage to retain. Here, you know, they did make a push, but again, like I said, we could easily hold it with, you know, 11 squads. We could fend off their whole guild, so I just wanted extra squads there just in case. My team doesn't even get to go in the melee. I don't believe their other Vanguard team gets to go in the melee. So we didn't, you know, we were easy there. I think they made a play for it here. Even though we didn't get the redeploy, our Vanguard team too was strong enough to fend them off. And then they didn't make it here. Again, free tile. See, we just didn't have enough people reallocate. They sat on these middle tiles here. I don't know. It was frustrating, right? So we have like 5 here, we have 4 sitting there doing nothing, we have 5 sitting here doing nothing, we have 1 here, you know, not really helping. Here we did not reach our goal, but because it did kind of spread out, we did manage to grab it. Again, our Vanguard with the Paragon 4 advantage did manage to hit. So let's see kind of like how that went. He's a new member. He's doing great. That was a great pickup for us. Oh yeah, so you can see he goes on a 10-game win streak here with that squad, and then just kind of finishes it off with the Shakir Bomb team. Fantastic, right? So he just finishes it off, and then we grab it and we grab some extra, easy extra, 120 points there. Now they did not go heavy here. They probably spread themselves a little too thin. They should have concentrated. Maybe had they abandoned this tile and gone heavy here, they could have grabbed it, and that would have then got them second place, right? Because that would have denied this guild the 100 points and given it to this guild, so they would have gotten second place. Not then again, that's going to be a huge difference if we look at the rewards. Right, so again, they only lost out on 100 guild points. That's not like that huge, so it's not like a big change. They're not gonna get worried about getting demoted, but for us, as you saw, we wanted to score as many points as possible, because look at all of these guilds that are tied, because we had 80 initially in legendary. So getting all the points we could get in a round was big, right? Because only the top 12 go here, and I don't know what they do for tiebreakers behind the scene. Usually it's first come, first serve. So my guess is maybe they would go down to the actual points accumulated. And that's probably what we're seeing here, is that the guilds that did get first, that did do fairly well, like ours, that maybe get like hit a certain pointage, got the 107, and then maybe the other guilds here either were like second or whatever, so they get the 104. Yeah, so second gets the 104, so they get a +8. We got a +11, right? Because everybody started out at 96. So that's what it seems like. Like I said, I don't know how they did the tiebreakers behind the scenes. So it was my thought process that we need to rack up as many points as possible. Now, with the changes that we learned in the practice round and going a little bit more aggressive this match, we did manage to get a significant increase in our score. I think the other one was maybe like 7,500, 7,600, somewhere around there. So we did do a tad bit better this game. Now we do have several more games to go, I don't know how it's going to shape up now that we are up in that higher range. Are we going to get matched up against weaker guilds next time? Are we going to get up against stronger guilds? The thing is, with the game mode as it is present, if you are the strongest guild and you want to go for exalted, you cannot form an alliance, right? You have to play big. You have to be the bully. You have to play aggressive, and you're gonna have to take risks. That's if you want to get to exalted. Keep in mind, even if you do mess up and you do make mistakes, at the end of the day, you're still going to be in legendary. So the only thing you're only going to miss out on two things if you don't get exalted. One, you are not going to get the time limited fashion item, the obsidian mirage, and you are not going to get the gold statue. Instead, you will get the silver statue. You still get the title. You still get the stellar crystals. You still get the 100 reds. You still get the 25 temporal essence. Those obviously being the big rewards. This for me is, I want this because, again, my goal is to plus 20 every hero by the end of the season, or at least plus 20 every hero that has potential for like Ravage Realm, Battle Drill, that sort of thing. I'm not too worried about plus 25 in heroes at this point. Yes, it is nice on those bigger heroes to have that crown, and I certainly crowned a few heroes of this season, and we may potentially crown like a Chimera or something when she comes out. But yeah, we want to build up our reds as much as possible because we do get that huge boost in power from going from the plus 16 to plus 20, again, because it's essentially going from 16 to 25 is the new 16 to 20. So that's big. So that's what we want. And obviously, I like to win. I want to get first place. I would love to be first place in the legendary here or the exalted, but at the end of the day, you know, it's not gonna matter. As long as we can get top 12, I will be happy. So again, we do have some, it looks like some stiff competition here. A lot of these guilds are very well organized that are in the top 20 that do have a big account. So, you know, we do have to worry. My concern is that by getting to exalted, we will now have to face off against these exalted guilds. While yes, getting a first place here would be huge, and give us an advantage over those exalted guilds, if we only manage to grab like a second, it could potentially knock us out of exalted, which is going to suck. So we're just gonna have to see how the matchups go come Sunday. So that's going to be about it for this one. Any last minute advice I can give is one, just if you do the strategizing like I do, don't overcomplicate it. It's complicated enough as it is, right? So that's why in like rounds 3 and 4, like, yeah, I wanted to add all these fancy new things into it. It's kind of like to show the value of the titles. It just added clutter to the map. So I went back in round 5, I simpled it down a little bit. If I'm guilty of one thing, it's overcomplicating things. So I wanted to dumb it down a little bit. You could say we just remove some of the noise, some of the clutter from the strategy. I would love if we could set this up in game so that like I can just make these notes easily in game. That way, like, maybe we could set like common squad goals and then like Vanguard squad goals, or like what Vanguard teams go where. I just want better deployment tools in game. I don't mind the strategy part. It is, you know, I enjoy the strategy. You know, it's like, do I do this? Do I go for that? Or what should I have done here? You know, we do the post analysis, see what we learned, that type of thing. What could have worked? What didn't work? What could have been? That type of stuff. I love the post analysis. I just want to be able to put this on the map in game so everybody in game can see it, because not everybody is getting into Discord. Not everybody's checking it. Not everybody's checking it last minute. I've had to do some last minute adjustments. You know, apart from having the guild leader or a vice leader do last minute adjustments and having access to everybody's account, you can't kind of easily redeploy your forces as your strategy may dictate, right? Because I did learn that by being having the account that I babysit is my vice leader's account. So I had an additional 3 squads that I could reallocate as needed. That was helpful in some rounds to grab some tiles. I'm not going to say that, you know, it was like a game breaking. What would have been nice, again, is if I had the ability to make last minute adjustments just on my own. Yeah, because there's a lot of things I could have done. Like, I could have better allocated all the squads how I wanted. And maybe, yeah, I could have gone for that gamble here that I wanted to go for in round 4 to try and take this, had I been able to allocate the squads as best as I would have liked them. Yeah, so I think we had a missed opportunity there. It sucks. At the end of the day, it didn't really mean much. So that's going to be it for this one, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!